Hello, everyone. This is Callie Karen coming to you from Sacramento City. Just want to show you interesting story on my sophisticated equipment here. Now, I was listening to this 1 minute 42 video from this News 2, which this channel has been putting little blurbs out on interesting news, but it says that it is a game channel. On this channel, we will upload apps and games, reviews, and some technology videos, okay? So all of a sudden, all of a sudden they got all this news, right? Look, see, they got 655 there's no game. I don't even know. Was it taken over? Was this channel taken over from these guys? Was it taken over? Because here's a bunch of Shina stuff. Chinese. You know, but you can't say certain things on the fluff tube. So, no other channels, community playlists, Snowman News, and China News. Who's Snowman? Edward Snowden? Is Edward Snowden now running this from the Chinese? What's their oldest video? John Lewis, Icon. Okay, so I didn't see all these stories here. I just started watching this channel. Here is the news story from today. Right. This lady who, when I start listening to it, I immediately associate this. It's a dog. And like, there's a case called the Rose Petal Murders in South Carolina, in which you can't see the name right here. Like, she's an oncologist specialist doctor who, okay, I know it sounds confusing, like I don't know what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, the Rose Petal Murders was a vet tech who was done away with by a Juilliard graduate, the Juilliard School in New York City. The boy was adopted, lived with the 7 or 8 brothers and sisters. However, they found he was gifted. As Callie Karen been telling you, they take the gifted ones and they put them in these programs. Now, I'm not saying I know who's doing it. Is it the parents? It's in the BLOOD line, okay? Because these are not just random orphans. I'm saying a lot of them come from baby farms, and therefore they're in a bloodline. They may all have 50 children with the same father, what I'm trying to say. But this, the lady that the Rose Petal Murders in South Carolina, the suspect is a Juilliard graduate, and everyone's like scratching their head. Gee, why would a gifted pianist, talented? It's because of McUltra. Okay? Now, in this story, I'm just reading along. What does it say? Cops and ambulance called to the home of top New York City cancer doc at least twice before she KK'd baby self, neighbor. So the neighbor is reporting that the cops had come to this place at least twice. We don't know what the time frame is. Called to this home of Crystal. Now, I just want to bring this to your attention too. Crystal, like Kaylee, these K names, McUltra has the MK, right? Even though control in the United States is spelled with a C, but a lot of the, what I'm going to call Manchurian candidates have a name start with a K. Kristen, one was named Kristen. I think one of the other stories I did, Halderson, the Halderson boy who did his two parents, the contractor dad and the mom with the name Kristen was spelled with a K, not a C, okay? This stuff is all coded. Let me just cancel this out. Okay, so then it says what she did. Okay, the cops came at least twice before this incident of today. And then, what does it say? As it surfaced, the oncologist's who? Parents were in the house at the same time of the Slay Suey horror. And then it says, it's quoting this guy, Bob Stewart, who's a neighbor. They had ambulances and police come to their house 2, maybe 3 times this summer, at least twice. Who lives near the 40-year-old cancer doctor, $1 million home in Somers, Westchester County. I saw the police and ambulances arrive. It's not clear why cops and an ambulance were repeatedly called to the stately property. Neighbors said the top Mount Sinai, that's a flag right there to me, because Mount Sinai is what? Run by who? Jesuits or... Anyway. And her husband is younger, 3 years younger than her. How does a 40-year-old cancer doctor get pregnant and have a baby? Because the baby is 3 months old, and the neighbor's saying, we didn't even know she was pregnant. They kept to themselves. They're very private people. They kept to themselves. They came over, introduced themselves once when they moved in about 2 years ago, and then we didn't even know she was pregnant. We never heard from them again. Da-da-da-da-da. Right? So the parents, let's call them the handlers, were there in the house with the alleged couple and their newborn 3-month-old baby. And all of a sudden, the mom just goes in the room with the GUN. And then here is the other thing. Let's look at my screenshots at the whole. More man. The whole script is written. I took that picture with a green light, so that's why my foot is not really green. Let's look in the yellow box. This is tacked on to the end of the script. I took screenshots of the script, okay, while I was listening to the story. But then at the end, there's some other script that is not narrated on the video. And what it says is, people who came back to life at their funerals. Killer laughs at dad crying for his daughter. The head of the Danish Medicines Agency. Abby calls the cops on Michelle. Cop kills man in hotel. People who came back to life being mortal. Medicine and what matters in the end. Scary ambulance ride. Fort Sanders Medical Center. Terminal illness, cause of death, scary ambulance. Best of New Amsterdam. 4-year-old girl falls out the back of a moving van. Okay. Now, I just came back to this to look at it because I started looking up Summers. Okay, I've been on 10 minutes. I can only upload a 30-minute video. So go to DuckDuckGo on Wikipedia. Summers, New York. Summers is a town located in northern Westchester County, New York, United States, as of the 2010 census. And my question is, where's the 2020 census? Did they not even do the 2020 census? I think they didn't even do the 2020 census because they were trying to organize the takedown of every country, every population in the world with their agenda. So the town in 2010 had a population of 20,434. The nearby Metro-North Commuter Railroad provides service to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan. So it's basically a bedroom community with a substantial not high-speed rail, but commuter railroad that gets you easily to the downtown Manhattan. Okay, so they call these bedroom suburbs, where you spend an hour or so, an hour and a half commuting, which this is an acceptable thing to people. 75 minutes from stations Purdy's, Golden's Bridge, Croton Falls, and Katona. Okay, Summers. So, first interesting thing is they got a thing called an elephant hotel with the elephant in front of it. I'll have to look more into the symbology of that. Here's where it's located in the county, the north end of the county, right on the border of another county. This is one of the things that the Khazarians like to do. Tri-state. They love the tri-state, tri-county. And then the county itself, this is an outline of the county. The county itself in the state of upstate New York is right at the tip. Okay? Right at the tip. That's Westchester County. Okay? So then I'm reading through this stuff, probably more interesting stuff to look at in there. But let's look at the history. Now, Summers was originally inhabited by the Kitchewanks, part of the Wappinger of Algonquian people. They called the land Amapaw, meaning freshwater fish. This is very telling when you look at the original names that the Native Americans gave the lands here. And it's basically criminal how all these other names have been imposed on top of that to obscure the purpose of the land and the what is the land good for naturally. Okay, so you find out it was a part of a 83 1,000-acre tract that King William III of England gave to Stephanus Van Cortlandt of New York City in 1697. The part of Van Cortlandt Manor that ultimately became Somers and Yorktown was known as the Middle District or Hanover. Okay? I'm not sure the significance of that, but I'm sure there's a deep, rich history on it. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. That's boring. The important part is, among the people who settled there were English, Dutch, and French Huguenots and Quakers. Okay? Hillary and Bill sent their daughter to the Quaker school. Okay? At the first known meeting of European settlers, so the occupiers, right, the belligerent occupiers of the land, held March 7th, 1788, at an inn owned by Benjamin Green. I've been telling you, green, white, black, a lot of these names, silver, gold, Goldsburg, Greenville, they're code names for where the Khazarian mafias have set up. So the inn owned by Green, that's where they named the things after people, but this is probably a fake name. He probably was named Goldberg or something, but they said, oh, let's just make it Green, because that's hiding who's really owning the land and stuff. Now, it said the town name Stevenson was established. However, there already existed a Steventown in Rensselaer County. This is where the Warden family, one of my satanic bloodline family, came from. Rensselaer County. They were from Lake George, and they were into lumber. Look up the Hoo-Hoo. The Hoo-Hoo Club, Hoohoo, is a secret society controlling the price of lumber. What did we have earlier of the Flandemic? A lumber shortage. Okay, same people doing the stuff, hiding all the lumber to create a perceived shortage, so the prices would go sky high, so they could save the lumber that they all had stacked up, hidden somewhere, and sell what they already had in the stores for 3 times the price. Okay, Hoo-Hoos. Their mascot thing is a fucking black cat with a tail like a 9. Okay, Hoo-Hoos. Look them up. My dad's Uncle Irk was in the Hoo-Hoos. What did he have when he came out of the army? A lumber company. Where did they... Rensselaer County, they had a Lake George, a lumber company that they worked for. It wasn't their company, but they worked for the lumber people in Rensselaer County, Lake George. Okay. The interesting thing is, why did they want to name the town Steventown? Okay. We want to name all the towns Steventown. Why is that? Traffickers, child traffickers. Because Stephen's sons are the ones who were in charge of the mayorship of Chicago in Rosemont from the time Rosemont was established. There's another color name, Rose. I live right next door to Roseville, which is in Placer County, with Wayne Wu is the coroner and the sheriff. Okay? Oh, okay. So what did they change the name to alleviate confusion? Somers. Somerset Belanoff. If you don't know, never heard that name, that's something for you to look at. Somerset Belanoff. Is she still alive? Who knows? To honor Richard Summers, a naval captain from New Jersey who died in combat during the First Barbary War. The first pirate war. This guy, a naval captain, had to fake his death because he didn't want to be caught for the stuff that he was actually doing. So they fake his death in the first pirate war. They probably why they had the first Barbary War, so they could fake the deaths of certain people because they had to give them new roles to play, like Queen Victoria had. She's a man dressed like a woman and put on the throne in the UK to have the whole Victorian era. That was a man, okay? They put him in different roles, so they have shit like the Barbary War and what is it? Sandy Hook and Parkland, and they give people different roles and pretend like they died in these fake false flag events. I got 10 more minutes. Okay, Summer in Memorial West Summer Park, blah, blah, blah. They put up a memorial to remember this guy because they moved him to a new role. Okay? Now here's the next interesting part. In the early 19th century, New Oltenia, or as it was generally known as Summertown Plains, contained hat factories, carriage factories, 3 hotels, 2 general stores, an iron mine, a milk factory, and what? A sanctuary for boys. What do you know? Operated by who? The Christian Brothers. Who are they? Jesuits. The Christian Brothers are the Jesuits. The devil has to give himself many different names to confuse people. So today, the facility is known as Lincoln Hall and houses incarcerated teens. Was a sanctuary. Now it's a punishment place. Child trafficking. Put child trafficking in wherever it says incarcerated teens, because those those are the people that get victimized by the flesh peddlers. Okay. Now this is as far as I got reading this, but the other interesting thing about this is this is related to, yeah. Let's see, look at what this one says. CNN 2 days ago, an image of Karen Vergata is shown at a press conference on August 4th, 2023, 2 weeks after announcing the arrest of suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer. Authorities in New York on Friday revealed the identity of a woman whose remains were among those found during the course of the investigation over a decade ago. Karen Vergata, a 34-year-old escort. Don't forget, guys, my Aunt Alice was what they call a call girl in New York City as early as 1958. I don't know when she got out of it, but they used her in another role until they killed her in 1977 in Baltimore. So this is a 34-year-old escort, but they put up her childhood picture, right? And that actually looks like a boy to Callie Karen. That looks like a boy dressed up as a woman, a girl. Okay, she went missing. Karen Vergata, 34-year-old escort from Manhattan, went missing on Valentine's Day, 1996, is the murder victim known as Fire Island Jane Doe. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney said at a news conference. Suffolk County, there's a Suffolk and a Norfolk in Virginia where the military, the naval base is, the largest naval base, I think, in the world in Virginia. Suffolk County, Virginia Beach is there. No coincidence. My great-grandmother, Bertha Warburg, lived there before she took a job in Iowa to be a house cleaner for some German people, and that's where she died. I never knew of her. I never heard of her. No one ever mentioned her to me while they were alive. My grandmother never mentioned her. Why? Because she herself was a child traffic victim and came from Germany at like 11, 12 years old in 1889. Okay, Bertha Warburg. She was sent to America to birth Warburgs, okay, and got hooked up with John Walter Collins, my great-grandfather, who was an evil man whom I also never heard about while my grandmother was alive. I had to look all this stuff up in Ancestry.com. So the similar names, Suffolk, Norfolk. And now what they're trying to do here is to put onto this Rex Heuermann. They're trying to put like every satanic ritual killing on this guy and say, oh, it was him. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't involved, but I doubt if he actually killed all these people. It's a deflection. It is. There's a channel deep diving into this guy that could probably tell you what color his underwear were. Okay? Who is it? A lady who... Oh, I'm South African. I now live in Netherlands. Who quits their job as a pilot in South Africa and moves to the fucking Netherlands? No one. But she probably knows many different languages, and they need her now to run cover on the fact that the Dutch, who were driven out of every country in the world, Dutch sounds like ditch, right? Where they want all of us. They're trying to make it pin all the murders on this guy, in which he was probably just like a useful idiot for the Satanists. He didn't know what they were doing with the people, but they used his services, and how is he going to argue with them?